yesterday was kind of a weird day. Okay,
Okay.
it was really hot out, right?
Hit me with it.
And at my job, I had to haul tons of stuff out to a pavilion, and man, it was the sweatiest I've been all year.
Dude,
And
it was
not that it's
hot.
not that it's insanely like whoa, mind-blowing story, but man, that was like one of the most tiring like physical days I've had in a while.
Mm.
And I wish I could say I worked out. I have a dad bod now, so here we are. If you saw me 2 or 3 years ago, I'm sorry. Kind of embracing the dad bod at this point.
Hey,
but,
I mean, when in doubt, Dad bought it out.
truth, mega truth. And I'm looking forward to that. But that's off topic. It was really hot out, and besides the extra weight
Mm.
that, or the extra heat that my weight produces, I'm not actually that insecure about this, but I'm saying stuff. Anyway, it was really hot, and it sucked the life out of me.
Mm.
It was, man, I like went home. I was like drenched, like not like
Dude.
through my shirt or anything, but
It's like that feeling you get.
it's just I was dirty all over, and I
yeah.
had to go home at 9 p.m. and take a shower. Felt really nice, and then waking up this morning was really nice. It rained again, and just to wake up to rain drizzling and my windows were open, and it was a really peaceful morning for me.
Dude.
So that's where I'm at today. The next morning, here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Dude.
good morning, everyone.
Yeah.
Hope you're having a great week. Hope we start your week off right.
Yeah. Especially with our lovely stories.
Ooh, lovely
Ooh.
stories. But anyway, we're going to be talking about content this week.
Heck yeah, man. I'm excited.
So we talked about this in a live a couple of weeks ago. But we want to rehash it a little bit because we think that
Dive
it deserves
deeper.
kind of its own episode.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're bombarded with it every single day on social media. I watch a lot of YouTube, so it's on YouTube. What do you experience most about content, and what is a definition that you would put it as?
And I think it was interesting when we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, just like content. It almost has, when we mentioned it, we almost, everybody in the group immediately thought of just Instagram and like influencers and individuals putting out content. And it almost, I would say, would you say it's safe to say like it was negative an intention that we all like kind of thought of?
Yeah. The first thing I said was, yeah, it's definitely overused.
Yeah. Like without even a beat, you were like overused. And I was like, yep.
I'm known for my hot takes and just opinions on stuff, but I also can go both ways. But content, nah.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's just like, ugh. If I hear content, it's like, okay, we can have a better word for that, because I feel like that devalues the art that you're putting out.
I completely agree, because I think we associate content immediately with like YouTube, with people that have thousands and thousands of followers on any social media platform, because they talk about it, and you'll hear it eventually of them being like, hey, sorry for not putting out any content, or sorry for not pushing this out there, for putting it up on the interwebs. But content, like, it honestly should strive from who we are as a creator. Like, what our actual work is being put out to. Because it was something we talked about, which I thought was huge, was as a creative, when we're putting music and we're putting art, we're putting things out there, it shouldn't be focused on gaining thousands of followers. Because then you lose, which we will hopefully get into today, is the authenticity of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because as creators, we're putting out this content, but the content should be derived from who we are. Because if we're putting, like, if I'm just a musician and I need to put out a song in like 3 weeks in order to pay like rent, like, there's that, but then there's where's the passion, where's the joy in it? And that could partially be from me procrastinating and not putting anything out there, but at the end of the day, it's finding that balance of content, if it's authentic and real, what it actually is to you, and how you want to use it.
Yeah. To me, I think it's a random thought, but like contents of a box, like I'm just pulling out random stuff out of a box. It has no meaning because I'm putting up such a blanket statement on it. Literally just, yo, stuff is in this box. I'm bringing it out, content. It's, for me, it's just a very vanilla thing to think about.
Vanilla
I
ice
have
cream
content.
is the best, though.
So like, just, oh, I'm putting out content. That to me just sounds like, oh, I'm putting stuff out there to survive, like you said.
Yeah.
Putting that stuff out there to feed into the algorithm with my main intention of improving my own followers, improving my own viewership. And that alone defeats the purpose of you putting in effort. Because as we said in the first episode, like, yo, people have different paces on what it takes to get stuff done. And if I'm more of a perfectionist than you, I might spend 4 months on a song and you might spend a weekend, depending on like either your skill level or how much I like would love for this to be the song that gets me, gets all my viewers and listeners super emotional. Like, oh, you know, I don't know anything about music, so I can't tell you that stuff. But like, you know, if the lyrics aren't perfect, I might not want to put it out until they're perfect or good enough in my eyes. Which good enough is another topic we can talk on.
Oh, absolutely.
But like content, yeah, like you have to think to yourself, is it serving me right to be a slave to an algorithm, or if it's right to serve myself and my heart and my soul and everything right?
And hope and pray that the algorithm follows what you do.
Yeah. You got to either do it for yourself or you got to do it. You do it for yourself as in your own pleasure and enjoyment and fulfillment. And then not yourself as in the money kind of thing. And there's a fine line that you balance there. But yeah, you have to decide, is this for me or is this for like not me?
Yeah, I feel that. And especially something that we've been discovering with Silo is this, like, with our content and the things that we push. I mean, that's why we wanted to start a podcast like this, was because we felt that we were putting stuff out there. We're continuing the grind with the events and the ideas and the interviews, but then we're almost getting lost in all of that. And being able to have, like, a chill, like, 15 minutes of being able to sit down and just talk to each other about these topics are huge. And like, we're going through presently, I mean, to be as transparent, which teaser next episode, but and we're trying to be as transparent as possible because I think we've felt the strain of just putting out content. Yeah. I mean, like, when we originally started Silo, we were on Facebook and we were putting stuff out there like every single day. Like, every week there's something new ideas, new posts, new concepts. And we wore ourselves out. Yeah,
it was a good, like, at least 3 to 4 months of daily or every other day.
Yeah.
Like, paragraphs on Facebook.
And hours of, like, meeting together, trying to push it all out there. And then we came to the point where we didn't even really say anything. Yeah. It was kind of just like...
We didn't put out for a while. And we're like, you know what? That was needed. But we do need to get back on the grind.
Yeah. And we realized quickly that it's something that not only you and I could handle, but we brought on new people.
Yes. And I think we've really worked on the efficiency and the structure and strategy of things. And that has brought us to where we are now.
Exactly.
In that we are honestly doing a lot more than we did back then. Like, every other day kind of content. Ooh, I said the word. That's a bad word. I'm moving on.
I know.
We used to do that kind of stuff, but it was only in one channel. Now we are on so many diversified channels of getting things out, different mediums of doing things, doing more things that we love, I think, too. And because of that, it has allowed us to be like, okay, Gavin, you're doing this, Lindsay's doing this, Hannah's doing this, I'm doing this. And it's so weird because we're doing more than we did before. But now we have time to do a podcast. But we're doing more than we did before, and we are already stressed out with just that.
Yeah, which is, I think, a great topic that you bring up. It's because we were able, like, even when you're putting out your work and you're trying to achieve your goals, if it's something that you want to be able to complete in a year or two, I mean, we've been able to, like, it stunk because we had to take back from everything that we were hoping to accomplish within the year. But we took the time to, like, okay, we're going to schedule this out. We're going to bring people that are like-minded but different, able to maybe handle the financial things. Because going from 2 to 4 is a huge boost.
Yeah.
And not only were, like you said, we've increased significantly what we've been doing.
Yeah.
And yet it doesn't feel any more stressful.
Yeah.
Because we've each found our niche, we each found what we've loved to do, and we're using it to the best of our capabilities. And so, like, when you're trying to debate whether or not to fall into that, I mean, I know, Silo, like, we would strongly encourage you just to embrace who you are as an individual, and then take that from that foundation, and then start planning things out. But at the end of the day, like, I guess this is my hot take for this episode, is having a calendar is more freeing than not.
Agreed.
It's crazy.
And it's weird because we're 20-somethings, and I say this every time. I'm like, yo, I never thought I would have a calendar, and I'm still decently young. I'm like, I want to be free as a bird and do my own thing whenever I want. But, like, yo, I schedule, like, 4 to 5 meetings a week.
Which is
like,
crazy.
I got to meet up with this friend for lunch. We haven't met in a while. And, like, the season that I'm in, I'm like, my Fridays are booked. Like, my Saturdays are booked. And it's so weird. And I'm thankful for it, but it's also like, okay, I just got to get this done. And I hope that doesn't suck the life out of me. I mean, just as a young adult, I'm like, yo, I still want to be doing fun stuff all the time. But a lot of that has come with Silo, and there's no flexing that we do on any of our channels that we're trying to flex. A lot of this is like, yo, we were clueless. Here we are now. Like, we know a little bit more than we used to. And it's just weird that now I'm having meetings with people where we are having meetings with people like down in Virginia about their music, about their digital content. Ooh, I said the word again. Oh gosh, it's bad.
But it's we say it because it's just something that's natural. Yeah. Like content. Yeah, I put out content. Like, do you? Like, yeah. Because it's one of those words where it's just a social norm to say. And it's so difficult to fight. Like, we say it all the time, and we're here talking about why we shouldn't say it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, it brings it all for full circle. And, yeah. But to, again, continue what we're talking about with the calendar, I mean, being able to actually sit down and be like, oh, I actually have an hour right here that I can, like, do something that originally I was panicking because I didn't even know what I was doing tomorrow.
Right.
And it's insane. And that, I think, also goes along with what we're talking about, is like trying to figure out, as a creative, what you can do and what you want to do, what you want to put out there, when you want to put it out there. As long as you have something that's almost, I wouldn't say like you have to do like hour by hour, minute by minute, but having like a backbone of just like, hey, I know on Fridays I sit down and I type up my content for next week. I know, I used it again. We should, like, figure out a different word.
Lemons.
Okay, I like that. But, like, I'm going to sit down and figure out lemons and try to figure out what that's going to look like for next week. And that's stuff that we do. I mean, we sit down, okay, we have on Google Drive, we have, like, content calendars. Lemon calendars. We have schedules and how we're going to plan it out, when we're going to put stuff out there, how and what it's going to look like, because we know within our own personal lives we have also stuff that we're trying to do. And it's learning to do that can be a gap. I know for us, coming from like a year ago, we were just like, you know what, this looks good, like, let's do this. And then now we're like, wait, we have this planned out. Yeah. And we can actually do something like a podcast. Yeah. Which is huge.
Yeah. It really does. it's weird how efficiency works in that way. I mean, that also comes with just built experience on like how to get things done faster. I know I've been called out for it before. I'm like, oh yeah, you can get that done in an hour. Like I got it done in an hour. You can get it done in an hour. But what I failed to remember is that they might have a different skill set or different competencies that
big words, man.
Dude, that
words are hard.
that allow them to get it done in a slower pace. But
Yeah.
maybe it's even better than I thought it would be.
Exactly.
And it's an assumption that I made, and I've been called out for it, and I'm very thankful that I have, because I wouldn't have taken the time to reflect on it if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, and I think that is a great point to kind of just leave off of, is finding people like we talked about in previous episodes, just like horizontally, that'll be able to be like, hey, keep you accountable for your lemons, or what we deem content.
Lemons.
And so that you not only you're not struggling or stressing yourself out, but you're finding the ability to have space, to be creative, to be enjoying, and to be pushing out what we are now deeming as lemons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one last thing to say, and maybe we'll start doing this. We kind of already have, but we've been kind of calling out creatives that are doing things right. It's just kind of in our normal talk, but I kind of have a shout out here. Emma Harling, who is a wedding photographer, has done this really well, and I've seen this exact thing with like rest and resetting from her work. Because of how transparent she is, I know this. But she took, I think it was like 35 weddings last year, which is already a lot. I feel
That's
like
insane.
Already a lot. She's making bank, I'm sure. Emma, you're amazing. We love you. Yeah, exactly. But you're awesome. And I think it's really cool is she's slowly scaling down the amount of weddings she's taking and sessions she's taking. Last year, she was on a grind. I couldn't tell you the exact number or anything, but she said that this year she's doing 10 less weddings and she's only doing one like couple session engagement, whatever, a week on top of like her normal weddings. But like she went from probably doing like 3 or 4 sessions a week to doing one, but probably making about the same amount of money. And I'm like a kind of businessy kind of person as well. So I talk about money, but that has nothing to do with it. But she's learning how to work smarter, not harder. And she's learning that rest is actually valuable for the creation process. That letting your mind rest can actually sprout more ideas than constantly being on the grind.
Absolutely. And so we just shout out all the creatives that have been taking that time to actually realize and go through it. When we specifically mentioned Emma, but we know there's numerous amounts of creatives that have been able to find this. And sometimes that's right away, and sometimes that's years in the making.
Yeah. It can be a grind, and then you're like, I can't do this anymore. I need to chill. And that's where you find some of the peace.
Exactly.
So, guys, we'll wrap it up here. You know who I sound like? I sound like Paul Gibbs when I do that.
Do.
I go, all right, well, I guess this meeting's over.
We love you,
but
Paul.
Like, yeah, it's amazing. I just I took the same
cool.
like cadence of his voice. I feel like anyway.
But okay, ready? Random noise to end the podcast.
Have a good week, guys.